All right, we're recording. Hey, what's up, everybody? Knolly Williams here, your success coach, and this is Mentorship Masters Roundtable Meetup. This is a meetup that I have with the Knolly team, my group here at EXP. So if you're watching this as a video after the fact, we always kick them off live, but if you're watching this as a video after the fact, just fair warning, we talk a lot about EXP, the company that we're with, the company that we love, and we talk a lot about just internal stuff. So, a lot of times we share these videos with other people that we love in the industry, and so just realize that we're just so excited about this company, this model that's just taking the world by storm. So I've got a couple of announcements that I want to kick off. First of all, I just want to welcome each and every one of you to the meeting. I see there's a bunch of you guys on here, and there's a bunch of you guys continuing to log in. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create a winning CMA, how to create a winning CMA. And we're not just going to talk about it, but I'm going to walk you through how I create a CMA. I just created one this morning, took about 2 to 3 minutes. And the cool thing is, once you're really, really good, once you're unconsciously competent at creating CMAs, you're just going to breeze through them. It's not that you're putting a lot of thought into it, but once you have a lot more experience, when you first start doing CMAs, comparative market analysis, when you start doing those, it's going to take you probably 20, 30 minutes to do one. I laugh because it used to take me a long time to do them. But now I just pump them out, and when you start to learn the market better and better and better, you become a master at doing these market analysis reports. So I'm going to walk you through that. That's going to be the intention of this call today. But as always, I pepper it in with a lot of other content and stuff that I think you need to learn. And as my group, as my flock, if you will, I think it's very important that I share with you the latest things that are going on with me, with EXP, and everything else. So first, I want to kick it off by letting you guys know that the next time that we get together like this, I'll be 50 years old. I'm 49 today, but the next time we talk together like this, I'll be 50. Why? Because I've got a birthday coming up in just a couple of days. So that's good. That's my Earth birthday. I'm a lot older than 50, but that's my Earth birthday. So that's exciting. That's an exciting thing on the horizon. We've been selected, or I should say, we have been selected to be on Sell This House. It's a program that airs on A&E. It's a very popular TV show. It's been around for many, many years. So I've got a listing that was picked to be the feature listing. So they do these in different cities around, like they do Chicago, they'll do Los Angeles, they'll do, Hawaii, etc. Well, the Austin taping of Sell This House features Knolly Williams. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be out there with a big cowboy hat, walking people through my listing and doing that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's actually next week that's happening. So that's going to be a big, exciting thing. The other thing I want to mention is that last week, I was in Mexico, and we were at the big Mexico summit that we have for EXP, all-inclusive resort. You can eat whatever you want to eat. I mean, they've got all kinds of food. And guess what I was eating? Fruits and salads and different stuff that I prefer. In fact, I got my elixir right here. Look at this. Woo-wee. Boy, I tell you, that's some good stuff. This is like apple, celery, ginger, and a bunch of other stuff. I tell you, you got to keep this body strong, y'all. So we were at that conference, and man, I'm telling you, it was so exciting, so exciting. So many of the top earners in our company, we're all about bringing people to play with us. I had a guy, actually Hollis, who used to run the Knolly team from 2009 to about 2014. He ran my business to 2015, something like that. He ran my business. He ran my operation. When I talk about that, I was working 3 hours a week, and and selling 120, 130, 150 homes a month. I mean, a year. I wish I was doing that many a month. There are some people that do that many a month, but I was doing about 150. Like the last year that Hollis and I were teamed up, partnered up, we did 153 deals, 153 closings. In fact, we were laughing the other day because we capped. One year, he was like, "Man, we capped in like 12 days." You know, we were selling so much real estate. Well, about 10 days into me being at EXP, I go to Hollis. I'm like, because you know, we're not partners anymore. We were together at Knolly Williams, and then he was over at another company, and now I'm at EXP. So 10 days into me being at EXP last year, I go to Hollis. I'm like, man, you know, this is exciting. You know, you need to come, all that. He was like, well, I'll look at it. So he watched the video, didn't join. And I'm like, man, and some of you guys are going through this. That's why I want to share this with you. I'm like, man, why? Hollis is a smart dude. He ran my company. He knows. I mean, we did like 500-600 homes that we sold together. This guy, no, I started working with him when I was 1 year in the business. Okay, so I've known him from the beginning. He used to be a loan officer, did all my mortgage loans. So back in the day, and so I'm like, man, what's going on with Hollis? How come he doesn't get it? So then I talked to him like 6 months later. Then we talked, you know, after that. Man, I must have had like 5, 6, 7 conversations with Hollis. And I'm like, why is he not joining? So finally, you know what happened? About 3 weeks ago, finally he said, look, Knolly, if you can tell, because he thinks EXP is all about recruiting, but the reality is only 5% of EXP agents recruit. Okay, that's reality. 5% of EXP agents have more than 5 people that they brought over. So 95% of agents at EXP are all about a production, not attraction. Okay, but in his view, he was, because I'm a recruiter. So in his view, he's like, man, it's all about he said, tell me how recruiting helps people. If you can explain to me how recruiting helps people, I'm in. Okay, that's what he told me. And I was like, man, that's been the whole problem all this time. So I sat him down and I explained to him, I said, look, let me show you how recruiting, because it's just like Jesus. See, Jesus had to go out and he had to bring them in. Right? He didn't just wait for people to follow him. He went up to the fisherman. He said, hey, Peter, man, you following me. You know, he was gangster with it. Like I said, he went up to another guy. He said, look, I'm having dinner at your house tonight. Dude didn't even invite him. He was uninvited. He just, like, how would you like somebody to come to you and say, man, Artemis, I'm having dinner at your house tonight. What, man? You don't even know if I have plans. That's the way Jesus would do things. And so the crazy thing about it was, I didn't realize that was his big hang up, but I told him, I said, you know, at Mentorship Masters, what we're creating, this is a family, guys. This is a family. We lean on each other. We have accountability partners. We love each other. We have a prayer group. I mean, this is the real thing. I said, when people, 87%, I'm gonna kind of put a bow on it with this, 87% of real estate agents that get their license fail. Okay, that's a National Association of Realtors statistic. 87% of real estate agents that get their license fail. They do not succeed. Okay, and we want to stop that. We want to cauterize that. We want to crush that. We want agents to be successful, and that's what we're doing here at Mentorship Masters. Now, when he caught the vision, he said, "I'm signing up." He said, "I'm in." And he signed up within a week. Okay, so all the time that it took, you know, me, revenue share and other stuff, the messages that I was trying to get over to him, they weren't sinking in. But once I understood what his big concern was, we were able to overcome it, overcome the objection, and now we're partnered back up again. Also, Artemis Kassane is in the house. He's been my personal business coach for over about 4 years. And he didn't even have his license, but when he saw the vision of what EXP is doing to change lives and the fun we're having, he got his license and joined us. So, I mean, I'm trying to tell you, it's super ecstatic. So back to Mexico. I know I like to digress, but I want to share with you, because I want to encourage you guys that this is happening, guys. This is real. It's going down. We're making history. We're making history right now. So here's what happened in Mexico. Now, I'm trying to tell you, I'm super excited about this. So our goal at EXP, just so you know, is to open 3 to 4 countries a year, okay, over the next 10 years. It's our 10-year goal. In 10 years, we want to open 3 to 4 countries a year. Today, right now, today, okay, what is it, February 13th, we opened Nova Scotia. Today, we just announced that we opened that country. I'm telling you guys, it's coming. Mexico's probably next. So right now we have about 26, almost 27,000 agents. We had 2,000 agents join us last month, biggest month ever for net gain at the company. And our goal is to have a 20% market share of the US. Right now, there's about 2 million agents in the United States. So we want to have 400,000 agents. Let me say it again. Our goal within 10 years here at EXP is to have 400,000 agents at EXP. Why not? I mean, Keller Williams is at almost 200,000 and they don't have revenue share. They don't have a lot of the other stuff that we're offering. So no stock, nothing like that. So we want to have 400,000 agents. So you can see that we're at the very tip of the tail. We're not even 5% in to the growth that we're going to have in the next 10 years. We're about 5% up the ladder. Okay. People are like, man, did I miss the boat? Am I in too late? No. Okay. The other thing is there's 25 million agents across the world. We want to have 2 million total. That's our goal here at EXP. So I just wanted to share that update. Got back from Mexico. I promise you guys, I want to keep it brief, but we spent 3 days at an all-inclusive resort, full days of learning from the biggest earners, the biggest shakers, the biggest movers. The president of EXP, Dave Kennord, was there. I mean, it was big. You know, we had Brent Gove, we had Rob Flick, we had Gene Frederick. If you don't know who these guys are, get to know them. Get to know them because they will help you as much as possible. So with having said that, let me read what you guys have. Yeah, I got some comments here. So we got, oh, Ivan says I look too young for my age. Well, thank you, Ivan. By the way, welcome to our new members. We have so many great new members. Ivan himself is 75 years young. Okay. And he started in real estate back in 1980. Okay. You know what Ivan told me? He's new to our group. He just joined us 2 days ago. In fact, Ivan, I got to make fun of Ivan a little bit. He told me, he said, Knolly, I hear it's taken 2 weeks for people to get onboarded to EXP. I said, Ivan, don't believe everything you read on the internet or you hear on the internet. Unless it's coming from me, you can believe it. On the internet, you can believe it. But a lot of that crap on the internet about EXP is just garbage. He said, are you sure? I said, Ivan, trust me. I said, if you join today, you'll be onboarded by Thursday. And this was like Tuesday, we were talking. He joined Tuesday, was onboarded by Wednesday. Woo-wee, high five, Ivan. Ivan started in real estate back in 1980, got his real estate license. He was a pilot for Pan Am. He went to Vietnam 4 times, fought in Vietnam. I mean, the guy has an incredible story, and we'll be you know, sharing more about him later. So appreciate that, Ivan. Tracy's giving me a congratulations. Tanika says happy birthday. It's Aquarius season, baby. That's what we're talking about. What's up? And I was born 32 days early in order to come in the earth at the right time. Okay. I was supposed to be born on St. Patrick's Day, but baby, here I am. I was 4 pounds when I was born. I said, I cannot wait. Charles Lee is saying happy early birthday. Thank you. Artemis is fruits and veggies, 50 years young, baby. Let's go. I'm magnetic for good. Great deals and great teams. That's Artemis. And then Nina says, hey, happy birthday. All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Love you guys. All right. So, and the reason I read the comments, guys, is because a lot of times you guys will want to share these Zoom calls with people, you know, after the fact, with people that you're wanting to bring into the family. And that's great. You know, so I want everybody to know, because these comments are not recorded for future. All right, so let me share my screen. Let me share. Now we're back to doing Zoom, y'all. So I got to reacquaint myself with the whole Zoom experience. But here we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, let me see. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to do something else. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, guys. Before I do that, I want to do something else. I want to, hold on, let me see. And by the way, the way I do this Josie was just asking if I can see her. I can't see you, Josie. So the way I set these calls up is that I have you muted when you come in, and I have your video blocked when you come in. So if you want to be seen, you can unblock yourself. Don't unmute yourself because Uncle Knolly's talking. You know, when I talk, I don't like nobody talking. Just kidding. If you have a question, unmute yourself and you can ask your question. But I do that because sometimes you guys are driving, you might not want to be seen, whatever. So I don't force you to be seen on these Zoom calls unless you want to. But I wanted to show you this real quick. So everybody knows, I mean, this book, Success with Listings, I was inspired by the Holy Spirit to write this because people kept asking me, man, Knolly, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I love teaching, but I don't love doing one-on-one. I do not like one-on-one. It's just not my skill set, not my gift, not my wheelhouse, not my talent dynamic, if you will. So I wrote this book just to get people off my back. Look, man, stop asking me questions. Read my book, fool. That's this honest God's truth, why I wrote it. This God, honest to God, just being honest with you. So I wrote it, and originally it was like 80 pages. Holy Spirit said, that ain't it. So then I was like, crap, went back and wrote it 150 pages. And then he said, no, that's not it. Went back, I wrote, it was like 200 something pages. He said, that's not it. I said, man, you want me to give him all my secrets? He said, now we're talking. That's what I'm talking about right there. So it took 430 pages. I'm constantly surprised when people come to me and say, hey, Knolly, how do I do this? I'm like, dude, I got a 430 page, damn, dude, 430 pages? Yeah, 430 page book. It's in here. Trust me, it is in here. And it really is. Trust me. But they want me, a lot of people, because you guys are high Ds, some of y'all, the high Ds are like, Knolly, can you tell me what page it's on? All right. So the reason I bring that up is because I've had a couple of masters that have been asking me, how do I do a good CMA? And I take it for granted that everybody knows how to do a CMA, but everybody doesn't. So what I want to do is I want to point your attention to chapter 11, because that's what we're studying. That's what we're following today. And I want to point your attention to, and by the way, when I do these videos, these are resources that you'll be able to go back to later, or anybody that you're bringing into the group, the family, they come to you, let's say, because every one of you guys should be building a group under you as well, okay? So I've got my flock, you should have your flock. See, Jesus wasn't just about building his flock out wide. He built it about 12 wide, and then he went real deep, right? So that's every one of you guys should have a group as well. And when your people start coming to you like, Mina, how do I do a CMA? You say, oh, I'm glad you asked. Video number such and such, right? That's why I create these videos for you guys. It's a great resource. So here I talk about what is a CMA, what is a comparative market analysis, and I go into this whole concept of what a CMA is. I won't bore you with it because you can always read that. But then I have this little part called doing a CMA. And I love this. I'm going to read it to you. It says, putting together CMAs is actually a very fun exercise. Now, only a person with my personality profile would write something like that. I was reading that this morning. I was like, did I actually say that? Yes, I did. Because it really is fun for me to do CMAs. I love to do them. Because when I'm doing a CMA, you know what that means? That means somebody's asking me to collect a paycheck. They're saying, Knolly, would you please come take my money? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have no problem doing that. And and when I'm doing a CMA, that means somebody has asked me to list their home. Or a buyer, if you're working with buyers, that means a buyer has asked you to, your opinion of a property. They're thinking about buying. So I love doing them. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. It's a great time to explore the market virtually. And each CMA that you do to build your experience and helps you to build your experience and gives you insights on what the market is currently doing. So this is really, when you get asked to do a CMA, because I'm not just going to teach you how to do a CMA, I'm going to teach you the psychology behind what you're doing. When you get asked to do a CMA, that is a gift that you've been given, because you've been asked to do a homework assignment, okay, that's going to make you better, okay? Am I a better agent because I've done over 1,000 CMAs? You betcha I am. If there's an agent out there that's doing 10 deals a year and I'm doing 50 a year, that means I have to do 50 CMAs. I'm gonna be so much more in tune with what the market is doing than that person, that I'm going to just crush it when it comes to not only getting more business, but selling the home that I list. Okay, so you got to understand that doing CMAs is fun, it's easy, and it's a great service that you're doing for your client. So then I go on to say, these are my top tips for putting together a CMA. Okay, so the first one is, let me read this because I think it's very important. It says, since there are a variety of different MLS software systems out there, I won't be able to provide you with a step-by-step instructions. Okay, because I like to give step-by-step. That's what I'm going to do in here next as I walk you through doing a CMA. But I said, however, I would like to share with you some of my top tips for doing a CMA. So number one, my very first number one tip is to get trained. Okay, that's kind of what we're doing right here, right now. But even beyond this, I say, if you haven't done a lot of CMAs using your MLS's current system, I highly recommend, very highly recommend that you take a class from your local board or your local MLS. You've got to go take an MLS class for CMAs. Okay, I highly recommend it. Most real estate agents out there suck at doing CMAs. Absolutely deplorable. I'm going to tell you, I got a listing that's under contract, just went under contract 2 days ago. Okay, and this drink is staring at me, so it wants me to take a sip. You guys should be drinking your healthy drinks as well while I'm drinking mine. So I had a guy call me up, said, Knolly, we need you to come and do an analysis on our house. Okay. And I was like, well, how'd you hear about me? He said, oh, well, you sold my wife's mom's house. I was like, oh, cool. So it turns out that it was a relocation company that had, and the relocation companies, if you've never worked with them, they have their own preferred realtors. Now you got to pay a 35 to 40% referral fee, but that's how they operate. They have a preferred realtors that they use. And the relocation company for corporations, she got hired by a Blue Cross Blue Shield out of Tennessee. So she's moving from Texas to Tennessee. And they have a relocation company that essentially the way it works, the long and short of it is, if you're moving, or if they need to relocate you, they'll buy your house from you as a relocation company. Once you get a contract on it or an offer on it that they're willing to accept, they'll buy it from you. So the relocation company, at that point, you're just dealing with them. But at this point, I was dealing with the homeowner. And the homeowner told me, look, the relocation company has 2 agents that they prefer in this area, and they've already sent both of them out. But one of them is an absolute bozo. Okay, and I'm just telling you what I was told. One of them is an absolute bozo. That's why we're calling you, because we wanted to call you from the beginning, but we couldn't because you're not one of the preferred agents at the relo company, which I was, I don't like being a preferred agent for that kind of stuff because it's a good thing. For those of you that want to do that, it's great. You'll get assigned listings, but you got to pay that 35 to 40% fee. And I'm a master at lead generation. So I don't need anybody generating leads for me. I know how to generate my own leads, and I teach you guys how to generate your own as well. So it's a good lead generation source. But anyway, what happened was one of the agents that went out was terrible with the CMA. And because they did a terrible job with the CMA, bang, lost the listing. They ended up calling Uncle Knolly to come in. I did a CMA, and it so happens that the reload company liked my CMA so much better than the other 2 that they just hired me, even though I was not a preferred agent at the reload company. Okay, I had to fill out all this paperwork just to become a preferred agent to list this one house. So I got to tell you, it matters if you know how to do a good CMA. So let's jump into it. The rest of this, you can kind of read this on your own time, and I'm going to kind of actually guide you through as I do the CMA with you right now, because it says under property type, you do this. Be sure to check this, that for date range, do this, and so on. So with that, we're going to try to do 2 CMAs if we have time. And then I'll take any questions that you have. And by the way, we like to go for about 1 hour. So about 25 minutes in, we got another 35 minutes. I'm pacing myself because we got plenty of time. But if you guys have any other questions for me that are not even related to this, after class, I'm going to go ahead and stay so that you guys can ask your questions if you have them. Okay, so let me go back and, okay, so now I'm sharing my screen. You guys can see my screen, right? Okay, so, so what I'm going to do first is give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Y'all see my screen? Okay, good. All right, so what I'm going to do, let me see if I can move this thing. All right, so, and while I'm doing this, I might as well share with you guys a couple of things that I do. So you can see my screen. You can see that I have a lot of shortcuts, okay, that are along the bottom here. So if you're not using I like to use Chrome. Some of you guys like to use Safari or whatever else you use. I personally like to use Chrome. I did not like Chrome at all when I first started using it, but I got used to using it, and it's actually very, very preferable in my opinion for a lot of reasons. So I like to have these little quick keys here. And so whenever you bookmark something, you can actually bookmark it, and you can put a star on it, and then it'll save that in your quick, with the, I call them quick keys. There's probably another term for it. Little quick bookmarks. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to log into the MLS. I'm taking this all the way from scratch, y'all. So I'm assuming that you guys, even if you do know how to do a CMA, you've been doing them for years, don't even, still listen to Uncle Knolly, okay? All right, so don't make fun of me because I only got one active listing, y'all. I got one active listing and 2 pending. I've been trying so hard. I've even got a couple buyers under contract right now. I was kind of cutting it up with Kevin and Fred yesterday, and they were just making fun of me. They're like, yeah, you're a retired agent that does 20 deals a year. But that's down from 150. So I've been trying to, my goal is to not do any production and just just to recruit, because I'm a trainer, I'm a coach. That's my wheelhouse. That's where God can best use me. Okay, so the first one we want to do is 2020 Petrified Forest Drive, okay? That happens to be real close to where I live. And so the first thing that I do when I'm about to do a CMA, and I'm going to remember to go through the book as well, just so I stay, because sometimes I do shortcuts, but I don't want you guys, when you have unconscious competence, you tend to just do shortcuts because you know things. But I don't want to do that with you guys, because I want you to learn to do it eventually, like when you're driving, eventually you just do things and stuff. You may not use your blinker every time. I mean, you mostly use it, but not every. You may not stop at every stop sign because you've been at that stop sign 150 times. There's no reason to stop. It's dumb that they even put one there, so you kind of roll through it. Things like that. But I'm going to try to follow the rules with you guys so you can really learn how to do this. So the first thing I like to do is I like to actually look up the property in MLS and see if it ever was. And by the way, we use the Actress system, so it's by Matrix. I don't know what MLS system you're using, but just kind of adopt some of these principles to whatever it is that you use. So the first thing I like to do is I like to look up the property to see if it was ever on MLS. If I see that it was on MLS before, that kind of saves me a little bit of time, and then I just pull it up. I click on it, pull it up. Okay, there it is. Now, the very next thing that I like to do is I like to pull up the tax record on the property, okay? So the way I do that is in Matrix, it's pretty easy. You just go to this little $sign, you click on it, and that pulls up the behind the scenes tax record. Now, remember, even though I'm showing you guys this information, this is all public record, okay? So at least in Texas, most states, all this tax information is public record. So because this is a real live human being person that lives at this house, but it is public record. So the first thing I like to do is I like to write down certain parameters. So I'm going to look and see, okay, this is a 2-story house. How do I know? Because it says stories 2 right there, see? And then it says it's 2694 square feet. It's got 1,000 square feet on the ground floor, 1,600. So that didn't make sense, does it? 1,600 on the second floor for a total gross footage. Well, that includes the garage, but the square footage is 2,694 and 481. Obviously, we're looking for heated and cooled space, which is this area right here, 2,694. Gross area would be 3,175. That's with the garage. You never want to do, you never want to use the square footage with the garage. It's heated and cooled space, which is going to be the building square footage right there, 2,694. The year built, 2004. And these are kind of things that I go through and I just write down, I jot, I make little notes of it. And then the other thing I like to look at is the subdivision, which this one is Parkside. I could see the subdivision right here under subdivision, Parkside at Slaughter Creek. And so I've got a fair amount of information. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take notes. So literally, this is what I do, guys. I actually get a piece of paper about this big, and I just make notes. So I said, okay, I got a 2,000 square foot home. Let me go back to what we're looking at. So that's what I do. I said I got a 2,000, not 2,000 square feet. I've got a home that is 2,694 square feet. That's important. I've got 2-story. That's important. Okay. Built in 2004. That's important. Okay. Subdivision is Parkside. Okay. That's important. A lot of you guys get hung up on how many bedrooms and bathrooms it has. I don't. But that is another thing you can write down if it's here. A lot of times tax record won't even show that, okay? I never look at the tax record value. That's completely immaterial to me. This says that the market value is 323. That has zero bearing. No, I don't even look at that. It has no bearing on anything really. That's what they're getting taxed on. That may or may not be true market value. So again, I'm writing down the square footage, number of stories, year built, subdivision. Those are the main things that I want to know. From those main parameters, I'm able to pretty much do a CMA. Okay, so now let's go back to Matrix, to our MLS system. And what I do is I go straight to quick. So I do search and I do quick search. Okay, now just so you know, you can set your MLS up. Let me go to it and show you what I mean. And by the way, when I do search quick, so you can do search residential, quick, detailed, and my search. Okay. I don't do any detailed. I don't do any my search. I just do a quick search. Okay. Now I have this defaulted so that certain things are checked every single time that I need to do a CMA, because I do so many CMAs. In fact, when I used to do, we were doing CMAs all the time. So I would jump in here, and as soon as I go to quick, it automatically populates. Like there's certain things that, like there's certain fields and things like that I don't have that yours might have, because you can always go in here and change the template of this. But I won't get into that. If you don't know how to do that, that's where you really need to take a local MLS class. But for the purpose of this exercise, you can see that it's already defaulted to the sold days is 0 to 90. The withdrawn days is 0 to 90. The expired days is 0 to 90. It already defaults to house. And so all I need to do is put in the subdivision and the square footage. Now, let me share something with you before we get into that. So the first thing you want to do, and it's right here in the book, it talks about the first thing you want to do. Let me see if I can, do the market analysis, but then it goes into, let me actually go through these with you. Let me talk through them with you, and then I'm going to do it. Okay. So under property type, I always like it to default to house. Now, sometimes you might be doing a manufactured home, or you might be doing a townhome, okay, which I have a townhome listed right now. So that may change, but 90% plus of the time I'm selling an actual house. Okay. When I do, so that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, I like to check multiple statuses: active, pending, sold, expired, etc. Now, it depends on the market. Okay, so I don't always include expireds and withdrawns, because in a strong market, you're not even going to have that many expireds and withdrawns, so it's not going to matter. But you definitely want to have at least 3 categories. You want to have actives, under contract, which is in our markets called pending, and solds. Okay, active, pending, solds. Okay, and by the way, when you look at that, when you look at active, okay, that's what sellers want. Okay, we call that fairyland. Okay, and this is something you got to understand. When I'm explaining the CMA to people, I say, now these numbers up here in active, that's our competition. Those are the other homes that we're competing against. That's fairyland. Okay, that's what people want. Down here, the sold, that's reality. That's what they're getting. So here's what they want, here's what they get. Okay, so I've got the actives at the top, solds at the bottom, and if there's any that are under contract, I'll have those right in the middle. Okay, and I just explain and say, hey, these are currently under contract. Now, we don't know what the person got because it hasn't closed yet, but we know that these are under contract, and this is how many days it took them to go under contract. I use a date range of about 90 days. I usually don't like to go back past 90 days, but sometimes you'll have to, and I'll show you that. The tighter you can hone in on the area around the subject property, the better, okay? And that's the reason why I generally try to keep it down to the subdivision. You'll see a lot of real estate agents, they make a rookie mistake, and what they do is they do a CMA and they base it on a radius. And sometimes you have to do that, okay? But in most cases, like especially in developing areas and in even established areas, you want to go by the subdivision, because you could actually have a subdivision that backs up to another subdivision, but the homes in this subdivision, okay, were built by D.R. Horton, and the homes in this subdivision were built by XYZ builder, okay? So that builder may be inferior or may be superior to the builder that built this community. So even though when you do a radius, for example, where I live, there's a subdivision right next to me called Onion Creek. So Onion Creek, the homes in Onion Creek are a lot higher than the home that I chose to purchase, okay? So if I did a radius, I'd be bleeding into Onion Creek. I'd be bleeding into some of the lower price neighborhoods that are behind me. It's just not the right way to do it. But a lot of agents make that rookie mistake. They drop a pin and they do it like a half-mile radius. Wrong. Guess what? That's the quickest way to get yourself fired or dismissed from a listing appointment, is doing it wrong like that. Under square footage, and I'm just skimming through these because I expect you to go back and do the due diligence and homework. And remember, this is not a novel, okay? This is a Bible. This is a companion piece. This is a reference manual. So that when you're actually doing the CMA, you got your pen in your mouth like this, and you're thumbing back through what Uncle Knolly said, and you're following, just like you're hearing my voice, you're following through what I tell you to do step by step. This is an instruction guide. It's a reference. It's a reference manual. So, so under square footage, I like to basically go, basically what I say is use a range that is within a few hundred square feet up or down. Okay. So the example that I use is if it's 1825 square feet, I'm going to go 1600 to 2000 in my range. Okay. I'm going to show you guys this in a minute, those of you guys that are lost, but I just want to walk you through it because I don't want to keep zooming back and forth between Zoom and me and my computer screen. Under year built, you're going to put a date range that's within a couple of years. So for example, if the house was built in 2004, I'm going to say, I want any house that was built between 2002 and 2006. See, I go a few years back and a few years forward to kind of tighten up that range. One of the problems that the person that was working for the Relo company made and when they were doing their CMA is that there was another subdivision, the same subdivision, okay? The subdivision is called Avalon. In that subdivision, the builder is still there. So my clients built their home in 2014, but guess what? They're like on, the builder is like on phase 6 or whatever it is, phase 5, whatever it is. The builder is still there. So whenever the guy, or gal, whoever it was that did this, the market analysis, she or he included brand new construction. Okay. They were including homes from 2019. Okay. Big no-no, big rookie mistake. Okay. So you always want to go within a couple of years, and you don't want to include brand new. Okay. I don't even care if that listing you have is a year old. Okay. You know, there's some exceptions to every rule, but generally follow what I'm telling you. Under year built, that's it. So my tip number 8 is try using comparables that have the same number of stories. This is huge. Another big rookie mistake that I see. And I used to do a lot of expireds, and I used to love it, man, when I would come in against these agents that just weren't seasoned, because I was ready to go. Ooh, I had my work cut. My work wasn't cut out for me. They had their work cut out, and I'm just coming in. I'm just scooping them up. No problem. Because I already knew the mistakes they were making. I say, show me the CMA that agent gave you. Then the client would show me the CMA. And we used to have a technique that I don't teach this anymore because it's probably a little unethical. But we used to play around with it. We used to use a technique. Don't use this, guys. I'm sharing this with you for the purposes of entertainment only. Don't use this. But like me and another agent, Arnold Solis, he'll be joining us soon. He's being stubborn, but he'll be in our group soon enough. But he was one of the first agents that I partnered up with. He was a mentor of mine, my very first mentor. And we would go head to head for listings in our market. Okay. And so we just had this practice where we would talk to the seller. We'd say, hey, by the way, what other agents are you looking to interview? So I tell the seller, hey, Kim, so do you have any other agents in mind that you're thinking about interviewing for getting your home sold? And Kim, the homeowner, would say, yeah, I am thinking about somebody. I said, well, who are you thinking about? They say, oh, I'm thinking about this guy named Arnold. Arnold Solis. Arnold Solis? Why would you happen to pick that agent? And then I would just do that little clip like that. And then they say, well, what's wrong with Arnold? I say, oh. And then I snap out. I say, no, nothing. Arnold's cool. Let's go. And then I just switched it. I just changed the topic completely. But then in their mind, they're like, man, what's wrong with Arnold? It was bad, y'all. I used to do stuff like that back in the day. I say, they say, who are you thinking about listening with? I say, Lucas. How'd you happen to pick that agent? Oh, well, what's wrong with Lucas? Oh, no, Lucas is cool. But here's what I want you, boy, I tell you, that's a technique. But here's what I used to do with the CMA. I used to ask him, I say, hey, let me see the CMA that agent put together for you. I just want to look at it. Let Uncle Knolly look at it. And I look at it, I'm looking at it, and I say, And I get real quiet. I start looking, I start shaking my head. And I start making notes. I look over here, make notes, make it, man. And then I just toss it aside like that. And they said, well, what's wrong? I said, nah, and then I just move on with because here's the rookie mistake that they were making. Almost always happens that if it's a one-story house, they would include two-story comparables. One of the biggest no-nos in the listing game. Those of us that are mega listers, we don't make that mistake. If I'm going to go list a one-story house, you better believe that every single comparable that I use is one story. And if I go to list a two-story house, you better believe that every single comparable is a two-story. It doesn't even matter if they have one-stories that are as big as a two-story. I don't care, because a one-story always, not always, don't ever say always, Knolly, always will be priced more per square foot than a two-story. Always, okay? So if I price now, so if I included two stories, I'm undercutting their potential value on a one story. And if I include one stories and there's a two story, I'm giving them false hope of what they're going to get on their home. Doesn't even matter if it's the same square footage. Big rookie mistake. I've seen that a lot. So that's tip number 8 that I give you. And by the way, I'm doing this video because Josie was asking me, she picked up a potential listing yesterday. And then Suda had asked me before, hey, I need some help with CMAs. And I've hesitated from teaching this because it's a bit lengthy of a topic and it's a bit exhaustive. And there's so much psychology that goes into CMA. I mean, I see a lot of agents, they're just like robots. I'm doing a CMA. I am going to write down the numbers. No, this is everything see, this is sales, and sales is psychology. I don't care if you're talking about numbers, we're still talking about psychology. That's why I'm giving you the backstory behind everything that I do. If possible, you want to have 3 to 5 comparables in every category: active, pending, and sold. If you can, it's going to depend on the market. That's why I say, if possible, okay, you want to have that. Tip number 10, do a simple CMA. Okay, this is another big rookie mistake that the rookies make. I see them. They do CMAs that are 20, 30, 40-page CMAs. I've seen it. 25-page CMA. What? Why? You know what? How long my CMAs are? 1 page. Okay. Not only I can't make it 1 page. It's only 1 page. Look, I sold over 1,000 houses. How many have you sold? You know, I tell my sellers this all the time. They say, well, shouldn't we do this? I say, you know what, Tim? I think that's a great idea. Let me ask you a question. How many homes have you sold in the last 10 years? Well, this is my second home. Well, Tim, I've sold over 1,000. And here's what I think we should do. And I just move on. Okay. I lead the client. I don't let the client lead me. Okay. I'm the expert. You hired me. You know, you hired me into your house and hey, I love your advice, Tim. That's a good, man. I love it. I love what you just said. You know, I just love that idea, but here's how we're going to do it. Okay. I lead the client. I don't let the client lead me. And so I do a simple CMA. Okay. Very, very simple. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Now there are, and then number 11, for those of you that just don't like the idea, I said, also do a full CMA report. Okay. Now the full CMA, you could use something like Cloud CMA. I geeked out on that for about 6 or 7 months. I geeked out on it. But at the end of the day, it didn't make me any more money. That's the bottom line. Is it increasing my checkbook and is it increasing efficiency? See, I only care about, if you notice, if you look at what I teach, there's 2 main themes that are interwoven into every single thing that I teach. Write it down, very important. Fame and efficiency. Okay. Fame and efficiency. That's what I teach. Okay. If it doesn't make me more famous or it's not more efficient, why should I do it? Okay. That's the bottom line. And it's all the bottom line is results. So you can do a full CMA, if you're going to do a full CMA, Cloud CMA is the bomb diggity bomb. Okay. Cloudcma.com. It's great. But that's just a whole bunch of eye candy. Sellers don't care about that. Trust me. Number 12, a great practice. Now, the only reason why I would do a full CMA and have it on standby is that if for some reason, which I don't even do this anymore, but if for some reason the client was like, yeah, but this house down the street sold, then now all I do is I pull it up on my iPad or my iPhone, really, and I'll pull up that particular property and I'll show them the pictures of the house. Okay. And as I'm showing the photos, now we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. This is listing presentation stuff. But when I show them the photos of it, I say, now, Charles, let me ask you a question. Based on the photos that you've seen of this house, granite countertops, you know, looked like it was hickory wood, hand scraped. It had all these other features and benefits. Would you say that your house is as good, maybe not quite as good, or better than this one? Okay, 3 choices. They would say, well, it's probably not as good. It's not as good, is it? See, I affirm what they just said. Well, it's probably not as, I don't think it's as good. It's not as good, is it? It's not as good, Charles, right? Yeah, you know, it'd be nice if it was, but it's not. Hey, we want now, Charles, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear or you want the truth? No, I don't want the truth. Okay, great. So don't get offended. I'm just telling you, the reason why I'm successful at what I do and the reason why you have me sitting here right now today is because you want success, right? You want success, don't you? Yeah, you want success. And this is what we need to do to have success. Okay. That's called taking control, and clients love it, man. I got to tell you, listings, and boy, I like to get off track a little bit, but I listen to the Holy Spirit. My agenda means nothing. You know, God's agenda is what it's all about. But I got to tell you, listings, when you go to a listing, I heard this from Brian Buffini back in 2003, and it stuck with me. He said, a listing appointment is the one and only time that a person is excited that a salesperson has shown up. Okay. Every other time, they do not want to sit down with salespeople. Okay. But when they call you in to list their home, it's the one and only time ever that they are excited to be in front of a salesperson. Why? Because they're hiring you to sell their home. And that's why you got to run game. You got to give them all the game you got. That when I'm sitting in front of a seller, I can see already they start smiling. They're like, man, this fool. They're looking at me like, man, this dude, because every single thing they tell me, I got game for it. I'm like, man, look, I hear what you're saying, but here's how we're going to overcome that. Because we're going to get you. You want to get sold, don't you? Yeah, you do, don't you? And they're like, man, this fool is slick. They get excited about it. They get giddy. They're like, man, this dude is selling me right now. See, when you go to a listing appointment, your job is to sell yourself. And they want to be sold. Why? Because they're hiring you to sell their house. They want you to be convincing. You come in all timid. Well, I think we might ought to be able to do this. And we could price it at that. No, I'm coming in like I own the play. This is my house. You know, this is what we're going to do. And then the sellers look at it, they're like, okay, Knolly, what we're going to, and pretty soon you got them eating out of your hand. And you know, they're starting to say things like, Knolly, whatever you say, that's what we're going to do. Okay. And then that's where you understand that you stand before an almighty God and you're answerable for the actions that you take. Let me say it again. One day you're going to stand before an almighty God and you're going to have to give account for the things that you've done in this realm. That's why you want to treat people just like yourself. You know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. By the way, when we talk about that, to do unto others, that doesn't mean just what you do to others, but what do you think about them, okay? And what you feel about them. Let me say it again. Not just what you do to others, but how do you think about that person and how do you feel about that person, okay? This is very important. You guys ought to write this down. What scripture says is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, okay? That means you don't go, you know, robbing them and doing stuff, you know, crazy stuff. But it also means when you start thinking bad about a person, man, that fool, no. You should think about that person the way you would have them to think about you, okay? And you should feel about that person. When you think about a person that you, quote unquote, don't like, how do you feel, okay? You should feel the same way that you would want people to feel about you, okay? Very, very important that you catch that. So when a client comes to you and says, Knolly, they say, Charles, Lucas, whoever it is, they say, Tanika, look, Tania, I trust you. Whatever you say, okay, then you do the right thing. Okay, you just scripture says you work if you're working for God anyway. So just think, this is God's house. He's hired me to sell it. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Okay, so then I go into number 12, which gets into a great way to practice doing CMAs, which is what we're going to do right now. I know it's taken a long time, but I'm telling you, we're almost at the top of the hour. We still haven't done a CMA, but it's all, guys, you gotta understand there's a lot of psychology. I might keep you over past class about 5-10 minutes. But there's a lot of psychology behind what we do when we do these CMAs. And so when you're in your quiet time doing these, you'll be able to understand all this just by watching this video and doing them. Okay, so here's what we got written down. We've got this house, 2020 petrified forest. We're about to do a CMA on it based on all the information that you guys just learned. Okay, so now the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to subdivision and I'm going to put in Parkside. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put an asterisk in the front and an asterisk in the back. Why? Because that's going to give me everything that says Parkside, because these are dumb fields, guys. So if the subdivision isn't Parkside, then a lot of times it won't show up. They've made some of these fields more smart. They're smart fields now, so where you don't have to do that. You can just put Parkside and it'll pick up anything that has a derivative of the name. But if you're looking at a dumb field, these are wild cards. The asterisk is a wild card. And there's a couple of places that I'll use it, but typically in the subdivision, I'll use it. Square footage, remember that one? Remember this one that we're looking at is 2694 square feet. Where was it? Here it is, 2694 square feet. Remember that? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, 2694. I'm going to go from 2500 to 2,900. You can go to 3,000, doesn't matter, but I'm gonna keep it at that. So now you could see that just by me, by the way, let me take this out for a second. You can see that when I do Parkside by itself, I get 54 matches, okay? Now, if I hit results, it's gonna show me, man, here's all the results for Parkside. So apparently there's a lot of subdivisions that have the word Parkside in it. So I'm gonna show you how to get around that. We're gonna go with, now I'm gonna look at the area, okay? So this is another very, very important metric that I didn't share with you earlier, but the area is also going to be very, very important. So you're going to have what we call MLS areas that, and this one happens to be, let me see, where's my area? Here we go. MLS area, there it is. I always, for some reason, I always overlook this, but it's SC, that's the area. So we're going to go back and we're going to put in area, we're going to put in SC. Okay, so SC. Now that's going to trim us down. Now we look at this, we've still got 15 matches down here. You see that? 15 matches. So now I'm going to put the square footage back in that we had. And now that gives us down to 2 matches. That's not enough, by the way. But don't worry about it. I'll show you how to pull up more. By the way, if I take this out and I just go, I'm going to look at everything that's 2-story. I can see there's 9 matches. I can hit results right now. And then I can kind of see, okay, here's what we've got. We've got one that's 2,400, 2,100, 2,600, and so on, all the way up to 3,000 square feet, et cetera. So I'm going to go back to my criteria. Don't ever hit the back arrow here, because if you do, you're going to erase everything that you've done up to this point. Okay, work within the program. You can hit results, then you can hit back to criteria. But if you hit the back button, you've just actually erased everything, and you got to start over. Year built, I'm going to go from 2002, because remember this is a 2004, to 2006. And I'm going to put the square footage back in, 2,500 to 2,900, and that's it. Okay, so we got 2 results. Now the way I'm going to get more results is I'm just going to go past 90 days. So I'm going to go from 0 to 180. See what else I get. Now I got 4. Now let me look at the results here. Now I only have 2 solds, 1 expired, and 1 pending. Okay, so I really don't have enough data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically take this up, and I'm getting into a little bit of experience here, but you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to move a little faster that you got, now that you guys have all the psychology. Now when I bump it up to 3,000, I'm getting 6. Okay. And honestly, the way I do it now, because of the market that we're in, if I have 3 solds, just 3 solds, then I'm good. Okay. By the way, there's no actives in the current market with these parameters. So there's nothing that's currently on the market. That's good. And so I like these results. So I've got, at least if I've got 3 good sales and 2 that are under contract, that's good. I'm good with that. Now, every market's going to change, because when the market gets really hot, you're going to have less results. When it's more stagnant, you're going to have a lot more inventory. So I'm good with this. So what I'm going to do, we've just done a CMA, guys. That's it, right? So I've got one that's sold for 315, or I'm sorry, 305, 319, and 344. Okay. Now let me look at this 344. I'm actually going to click on it and look at it and see, does it have a pool or something? Sometimes I'll actually look at the photos and see what is going on with this house that's made it sell for so much more than the others. It just, it's just got a lot of appeal. It's, it's completely, look at it. I mean, it just looks excellent. Looks beautiful. That opened in another window. So I'm going to go back here, single line display. And I'm going to look at, sometimes I just look at a few of these just to familiarize myself with them, and see, okay, what's going on with this one? It's pretty, I guess it's a little bit more plain compared to the other one, has a lot more carpet, etc. So you can kind of go through these, play around, look at them. But once you're ready, you're going to basically select all the ones that you want. I'm going to leave out this expired one because it's not really going to help my case. And then I'm going to go down to what we call quick CMA. This is my favorite button right here, baby. Quick CMA, okay? And now you can click Cloud CMA if you have a Cloud CMA account. It'll get you a full CMA report. I don't like those, so I'm just doing quick CMA. And then I'm basically going to download this. It creates a PDF, and then we can open it up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, there it is. There it is, baby. That's what I call a one-page CMA, right? And I can actually print this out. For those of you that still like paper, I make it two-sided, print it out, and then that's what I actually use to present to my client. Okay, that's what I actually use. So I was going to try to do 2 today, but I think you guys got. I don't want to keep you guys over after class. Those of you that can't stay. Let me print this out, and then I'm going to review that, and then I'm going to answer questions for you guys. Let me just see. Let me figure out how to get my. Oh, here we go. All right, we're back. Let me show you guys real quick. Okay, so let me see if you guys got. Okay, cool. Somebody's saying I look so young. Don't I look young, y'all? Hey, especially when I take my shirt off. No. That's for another video. All right, so all right, so here's what we have, guys, and I'll post this out on our group so you can see what this looks like. Ooh, I love it. This is what I like to present to sellers, and so I've got a couple of different. Now, this is one thing I don't like about this CMA that we did is that the prices are all over the place. I've got 2 pending. One's at 340, one's at 350. Okay, and then I've got 3 down here. One sold for 305, one sold for 319, and one sold for 344. Okay, that's a pretty big spread. Okay, but again, we can kind of agree that the pricing is going to be somewhere between probably 320 and 340. Okay, now it might even be higher because if you see that there's 2 of them, I know you guys can't see this. I don't know why I'm even showing it to you because the light is blocking you. But there's 2. One's under contract at 340 list price in 11 days. Okay, and the other one's under contract at 350 list price in 8 days. So what that tells us is that this market is trending up. So when a market is trending up, this is a whole nother story. But when a market is trending up, you really can't predict necessarily what the price will be, but it's probably going to be on the higher end of what the CMA shows, because some of these, look, one of them sold in November. Remember, we couldn't get that many statistics from the last 90 days because there hasn't been any activity. So one of these sold in November, one sold in October, one sold in December. The one that sold in December, look at this, sold for 344. The one that sold in October sold for 319. Now they're on the market at 340 and 350, and they're going under contract in between, in just a couple of weeks. Okay, so one thing that tells me I need to be out there listing more houses, don't I? No, I like listing agents. That's what I like to do. I list agents now. I bring them over, bring them the mentorship masters. You guys should be helping me do it. So anyway, that's how you do a CMA, guys. Go through the book. It's super duper simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Put together your CMAs. If you got any questions or you hit a snag, jump into the Facebook group. I'll help answer those. Not Facebook, workplace group. I'll help answer the questions there, and play around with it. Have fun. Play around with doing CMAs, and trust me, the more of these that you do, take a couple of random, maybe some of your friends' houses to say, hey, I want to do some free CMAs for people. Just get some addresses and just play around with this and start doing them. Okay. Hopefully this has been helpful. We're going to cut it off right here. We're going to tell you guys that I love you. I wish you well. I wish you much success with whatever the day has for you. Hopefully you have a great one. You're out there getting listings. We sold, as a group, we sold 29 homes last month. Let's make it 40 this month. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. Mina had her first $800,000 sale. High five, just high fiving her because it was almost $1 million. And she's, just not even 2 years in the business. thank you guys. On to bigger and better things. And I'm going to stay after class for anybody that has any questions. Wade says, thank you, Uncle Knolly. All right, Wade, love you, brother. Marcia says, thank you. If any of you guys have questions for me, just unmute yourself and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay. I was on a roll there, wasn't I? Man, this is a good training. This is a really good training. See, whenever I judge a good training by how well the video will be later. And if this can be a great resource that we can share with our new members coming in that are like, how do I do a CMA? I'm stuck. They don't have to wait for Uncle Knolly to get back to them or their sponsor or their broker. They can just watch this video, bang, they got it. All right, so there is one thing as you guys are getting your thoughts together and Uncle Knolly staying after class. Nick had a question for me and I want to read this question. I promised him I would share this with you guys. So he says, this is Nick in our group, and I never try to pronounce Nick's last name. Let me see if y'all can see it. Can y'all see his last name there? Yeah, that's his last name. Nick, I'm sorry, brother, but I never can pronounce you. There it is. See his last name? Okay, so but it's a great last name, by the way. I just don't know how to say it. So he says, I have come to the conclusion that my Facebook list of friends can be very powerful. How do I message them either to get their contact information or get them out for lunch and coffee? Mind you, I haven't spoken to these people in years. My other thing is, how do I ask people in person or on the phone or whatever that I need, that if they need real estate advice, if they've ever thought about selling, or basically his question is, how do I ask for business? Okay, this is a very important question, Nick, and I promised you I'd answer it on this roundtable. So here it is. So, so the first question Nick had was, how do I reach out to people? And the second question is, how do I ask them for business? So let me answer the second question first, and then let me show you the answer to the first question. So the second question is, how do I ask for business? Because as real estate agents, we don't want to seem needy. Like, how do I go, like, this was my struggle all the time, because I had all this marketing in town. I was a top agent and all this, but I needed more business. I never had more business. I always need, see, look, I'm trying to build mentorship masters. You say, how big do you want to get it? I have no limit on that. As big as it wants to be. God, how many people you going to let in the kingdom? Huh? What's the cutoff? God's like, as many as want to come. What's up, dude? Well, you don't be putting no nets on my potential. So anyway, I always, no matter how successful, and I had some down months. Trust me, I teach about feast or famine. I know about it. Okay, and so at any rate, you want to go to people and you want to ask for business, but you don't want them to think that you're not doing well. Because when people come to you, they say, "Hey, man, how's it going?" You say, man, business is great. How's business? They're always like, well, business is great. But then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have told them that because I need more business, right? But you want to look like business is great. So here's the script that I use. I say, you know what? Business is phenomenal. I mean, it's out the park, okay? But I got a big problem. Since you asked, I got a big problem. Can you help me? I need your help. So now they're like, well, wait, yeah. Wait, how can I help you? I say, well, my big problem is I don't have enough inventory. See, I'm selling them so fast. They're going so quick, I can't keep them in stock. And so my big problem right now, since you asked me about my business, is that I need more inventory. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? I'm looking to help 3 more families before the end of the month. See, that's a good script. I'm looking to help 3 more families before the end of the month. Who do you know? Okay, so let me just share that one more time because it's powerful. One answer, hey, Knolly, how's your business? Oh, man, business is great. Okay, no, that ain't how we do it. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one is, hey, Knolly, man, how's your business? How's business, bro? Man, business is phenomenal, but I got a big problem right now. I mean, it's big. I wonder if you could help me with it. Come to think about it, since you asked, See, they asked you how your business is. So they just invited themselves to a little bit of, you know, for you to, I mean, it's a great, I mean, they just hooked themselves right into it. Man, how's you, oh, since you asked, I got a big problem. I wonder if you could help me with it now that I come to think about it. You know, well, what's the problem? Man, my big problem right now is inventory. I'm selling them so fast, I can't keep them in stock. Okay. And I need more houses. Who do you know that's looking to sell? Well, I'm not sure. Well, I tell you what, since you asked me how my business is, you know, I'm looking to help 3 more families before the end of the month. And if you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell, I'm the man. I'm the woman that can help them. Okay. Great script right there, guys. Write that down. You know, replay this video because I just gave you some money right there. Now, to answer Nick's other question, I'm going to have to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you guys quickly the answer to that. So when you go to Mentorship Masters portal, which you guys should be going to frequently, you should have that on speed dial. You log in, and when you log in, there's a lot of different stuff here. One of the things that's here is going to be resources. Okay, let's see. So if you go, and I know there's a lot of stuff here. We try to keep it organized as much as we can because it is overwhelming, all the stuff that we have in here. But there's a lot of different things in here like goals calculators, setting your goals. The setting your goals is great. You know, here's some different things that you could be doing, you know, when it comes to setting your goals, coaching and stuff like that. And then we've got, you know, your disc profile, pre-listing package, all this stuff, all these tools are in here, you know, just to help you to succeed at the highest level. Now, when it comes to, there's a particular document that I put out, and let me just open it up real quick for you guys, because this is really going to help you, Nick, with this. So I've got a couple of scripts that are really good, and we have a script. I'm in the process of putting together a scripts tab in here so that you guys can go, because I've got a lot of stuff in here, but if you guys have some better ideas on how to organize it, I try to keep it organized. You know, Uncle Knolly tries to do that for you. But I'm going to create another one just for scripts so that I can pop this script in here. And this script is, now this is out on our workplace group, guys. Just if you search for it, you'll see it. This is a script for calling folks that you've known in the past, okay? That could be previous job, church, gym, school, social group, etc. And then I go, so it continues to go. So if you would just follow this script, this is the script that's really, really going to help you. Because a lot of times what's happened is we have people that we have neglected. We just haven't followed up with them in a long time, and they need to hear from you. And so this is kind of a thing like, hey, you know, how do I approach these people that I haven't talked to in a long time? Okay, because it can be awkward. And that's the reason why I created that script. So that script's out there for you. And the last thing I'm going to share with you on that is that in the book, I've got a script for reaching out to people that you haven't talked to in a long time. And it's going to be right here it's going to be in the SOI chapter, which is chapter 7, I believe. Let me go to chapter 7. Yeah, work your sphere of influence. So you go to the chapter 7, and there's scripts in here that are going to be all specifically. Here's your annual phone call to your database. Okay, that's what you're going to say when you're calling these people. In addition, you can use the other script that I just showed you. What if you don't already have a database? I get into that. Here's a follow-up email, and it's a copy-paste script. You can get the PDF of this and just copy and paste that. If you already have a database, here's the things that you should be saying to your people when you call them, okay? And this is also part of the script is, hey, I'm sorry I haven't been in touch with you in a while, but I'm making a commitment to start contacting you and being in touch with you at least twice a year. Would that be okay with you? And they're like, well, sure. And then you've just gotten their permission to contact them twice a year so that you can tell them how terrible you're doing with your inventory and how much you need their help to get your inventory up. It doesn't matter if you sell 100 homes a year, you still always have a problem with inventory, don't you? Yes, you do. All right, so that I wanted to answer that, Nick. So that got you squared away. Judy says it's been a great Zoom call. Thank you very much, Judy. I appreciate that. Are you half a century? Woo wee! I'm half a century, y'all. Hey, when I turn 60, I can take up my pipe, start smoking that on the front porch. Nah, just kidding. Okay, so what else? What else you guys got? I think that's it. If anybody else has something, we're gonna hang out. I'll take another sip of my drink. I'll be quiet, I promise. Okay, you guys are shy. Did y'all like the post on Workplace and let me know? By the way, the only way you can talk is to unmute yourself. If you look, some of you are like, how do I talk? In the lower left-hand corner, there should be a little picture of a microphone. You click on that, you unmute yourself. But typically our meetings go for no longer than an hour anyway. I've gone way over with the after class stuff. So I love you guys. I'm gonna officially end our talk, our call. And I know it's been powerful. It's been powerful for me, and we're all growing together. Always reach out to us if you need any help at all. And I'll see you next week. I think we'll have another one. God bless. Look out for it. Love you.